Uh, my name is Brooke Oliveri. I am the manager of the Long Island Health Collaborative. For those of you who may not know, the Long Island Health Collaborative is a group of approximately 300 plus local county health departments, hospitals, community-based organizations, all working toward improving the health of Long Islanders. So some housekeeping before we get started today. As you can see, today's program is being recorded. We will have some pre and post-event poll questions for you to answer today, so please stick around after the Q&A for that. And we will have a robust Q&A session today with Dr. Basile, so please hold your questions until the end and we'll make sure that we get to all of those questions that you might have. So many thanks to our sponsor, AARP. We are so excited to have them on board with this series. And now I would like to turn it over to Elizabeth Bradford, an AARP volunteer.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is well. Amen. I want to say hello to our host, Ms. Brooks, and to our doctor, Dr. Marie. And hello, my name is Elizabeth Bradford. I am an AARP Long Island volunteer. And on behalf of the AARP, welcome to today's Healthy Talk with Dr. Webar. We are committed to helping you stay healthy and stay connected. So we congratulate you for taking the time to learn more about AARP and the Long Island Health Collaborative. AARP is a nonprofit, nonpartisan membership organization for people aged 50 and over, 72 here. There are 38 million members nationally and approximately 2.5 million in New York State and about 500,000 living here on Long Island. AARP works to strengthen age-friendly communities and make for happier, healthier residents of all ages. And we advocate for what matters most to people 50 and over and their families, with a focus on health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment. So to learn more about our other online classes, and we have many, we even have a few more today having to do with health. So please go on the AARP.org near you and find out about our other classes. And so we also want you to learn about our events, our local discounts, our volunteer opportunities, and more. And I'll just repeat it again, AARP.org/near you. So I want to wish everyone a blessed day. And if you're a mother, happy Mother's Day coming up. And enjoy the rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you for being here this morning with us.
All right, blessings.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we do have some pre-event poll questions for you to answer. I'm going to launch those right now. So your participation, of course, is voluntary, but we would love to get your feedback on the following 6 questions. As you know, this series revolves a lot around chronic disease and the prevention of those chronic diseases. So a lot of the questions do focus on chronic disease and lifestyle and whether you're ready to make those changes in your life. So I'm just going to give it a minute or two here just to give anyone who wants to answer the time to do so. It's been a minute. I'm just going to give it maybe 30, 40 more seconds here. I still see some responses coming in, so I'm just going to give it a few more seconds. Thank you so much for bearing with us. If you've already answered the questions, we so appreciate your feedback. So thank you for that. Okay, so it has been 2 minutes. Thank you to everyone who did answer. I am going to close the poll now. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Maria Basile. So she is our featured speaker for today. She is the 215th president of the Suffolk County Medical Society. Up until April of 2021, she was with U.S. Family Health Plan St. Vincent's as chief medical officer. Prior to that, she was with Northwell Health's Mather Hospital as Assistant VP of Medical Affairs. And prior to hospital administration, Dr. Basile was a colorectal surgeon in private practice. A pretty impressive resume, as you can see here. And without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Dr. Basile.
Thank you, Brooke, and many, many thanks to the Long Island Health Collaborative and to AARP for putting this program together. Welcome to all of you, and I hope that this talk will give you something to think about and make you just as grateful as I am for my two little pups, and actually maybe even give you some tips. Even if you don't have a dog to walk. So let's get started. So we're talking today about the health benefits of walking and of walking the dog. Of course, it's no secret that if you have regular physical exercise, if you work out regularly, you'll be more physically fit, and that there are physical fitness benefits to walking and to walking the dog. But you know, with many workout programs, half the battle is really sticking with it long enough to see the benefits. And so now walking with a dog almost eliminates that whole challenge, really, because then you have an automatic training partner and a coach all in one. And once you start, you know, establishing a routine with them, they end up so excited to get outside that it won't let you skip a day or crawl under the covers. So rain or shine, you'll end up getting your workout in and your steps in either way. So walking itself is a low impact activity that you can do pretty much anywhere. And over time, it helps you and your pup strengthen your muscles, bones, and joints. You may even notice that your normal route, once you're started walking, starts getting easier, and decide to stay out longer or walk up that extra hill or that other shortcut that ends up being a long cut. So that's the, you know, the bones, joints, and muscles. Those are the benefits of, you know, the actual physical fitness part. Your heart and lungs, your cardiovascular disease is also benefiting from getting out there on a walk every day. When your heart, you know, your heart isn't able to pump blood efficiently through your body or encounters a blockage, some of those chronic diseases that the poll just asked about, serious health issues like high blood pressure, heart failure, and coronary heart disease. But regular exercise, of course, lowers blood pressure and your resting heart rate, as well as your risk for developing any of those chronic illnesses. The CDC itself recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. All right, so 150 sounds like a big number, but if you cut it down, you know, day to day, it's really just a little over 20 minutes of exercise a day. With your dog by your side, that kind of time it goes really, really quickly, and it's an easy benchmark to hit. And you will notice, actually, that for many dogs, 20 minutes a day isn't even enough activity. And I do want to put in a small warning that, that more dogs than ever are suffering from health issues themselves, like obesity, due to a combination of us overfeeding them and also not involving them in enough activity. So if your 20 minutes a day turns into a half an hour, it's good for both of you. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about is a little bit harder to talk about, okay? The psychological reasons, the mental health benefits that, that come from walking a dog. There is actually a psychological medical reason that so many dogs become service animals for us, for veterans, for people living with post-traumatic stress disorder. Walking a dog can improve their mood and reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Research shows that spending time with a dog can reduce the output of the stress hormone cortisol. And then that's how we see the health benefits that we talked about earlier: reduced high blood pressure, or reduced blood pressure and reduced heart rate come from the release of cortisol that can happen in your body, even just petting the dog. Okay, so there is a benefit really to pet ownership that helps with our mental and physical health. For people struggling with depression, having a dog can be a real game changer. Sometimes when we're stressed or depressed enough, it can be hard to kind of connect with the things that motivate us, and it can be hard, again, especially on a day like today, to even get out from under the covers, but having, all it takes is those little puppy eyes and some wagging tails, and there's no better motivator than a pet who's begging you to go for a walk or to play with them. So that's an automatic. They become automatically promoted to personal trainer and coach. And it is true, there have even been studies that show that the companionship that dogs and pets offer, particularly because it's so non-judgmental and unconditional. I mean, it's one of my favorite things is coming home to the dogs every day. It's like you walk in the door, it's like they've never seen you before, or they haven't seen you in a million years, and they're just so happy to see you, wagging their tails, jumping around, and it's just a joy. And so those types of things can really, really help to beat problems with the blues, with depression, decreased amounts of loneliness. Really, really incredible mental health benefits, including improved self-esteem. Okay, so one benefit that kind of crosses both the physical and the mental and emotional benefit of walking the dog is actually improved sleep. Okay, so the idea that actually you get better and a better quality sleep if you are more active, and if you have periods, definite periods of time that you are, quote, working out, walking the dog, it can actually improve the quality of your sleep, the amount of time that you're able to stay asleep. And that is, again, one of the benefits that I wanted to discuss, although I wasn't really sure whether it fit under physical or mental, but either way, the dogs and walking the dogs are good for you. Then finally, the social health benefits are really, really something that's been studied more than we realize, okay? But it's also kind of intuitive too. When you're out and about with the dogs, it has been shown that other people see you as friendly and approachable. Okay, so if you're out there like me, like walking those two little, mutts around, people will come up and ask if they're friendly, if they can pet them, and I mean, so they're almost like your ambassadors for getting out there, and they automatically give you an air of being approachable, of being friendly. And so in studies of communities, we have noticed that and found that people who are walking their pets actually do acknowledge and greet other people in the street, even if they don't know them. They also will be more likely to exchange favors with neighbors. Oh, can you do me a favor? And maybe we can do this. And, I'm going to be away. Can you keep an eye, or can you help me take the newspaper in? Things like that. When you're on your daily walk are kind of social health benefits and almost community health benefits as you meet more and more of your neighbors and the people who are in your neighborhood. And so those are some of the social health benefits that we like to report about the importance of walking your dog. So finally, before we go to the next slide about safety on the roads, and I want to talk a little bit about the personal and physical safety that you need to assure when you go out with your dog. Certainly, before any physical activity, we like to recommend that you make sure you stretch out real good, okay? Because you don't really know, when you're going to have to run or jog or jump or, or get up after tripping. And so it's especially important to check and stretch out the front and back of your legs, your back, your arms, just before you get the leashes onto them and the harness, and before you head out, make sure you're nice and stretched out and warmed up. Check your equipment and make sure that the harnesses and leashes are fit well for the dogs, but also check your own equipment and make sure that you're in walking shoes and clothing that is comfortable, and shoes that are supportive of you and that aren't going to cause any major catastrophes as you're walking along. And then, of course, as it gets warmer out, we worry about heat and sun exposure. So make sure you drink plenty of water before, during, if it's going to be a long enough walk, and certainly after a walk with the pups. If it is going to be a long walk, maybe bring some water for you and for those guys, and then protect yourself from extreme heat, which usually is better done by scheduling your walks for either earlier or later in the day, the cooler parts of the day, than smack dab at high noon or in the heat of the day. But also with your equipment, with a hat, sunglasses, and of course sunscreen, okay, to the exposed areas. So those are my safety tips, and that actually concludes the presentation part of this program. And so certainly we'll open up the lines for questions as well, and I'll be happy to talk about Miles and Parker, or about or about walking them and the benefits of that, and answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much, Dr. Basile. This was such great information. And speaking of safety, thank you for mentioning those safety tips. We do just have a few tips and laws for walking safely provided by Walk Safe Long Island and the New York Coalition for Transportation Safety. So always use the sidewalk when you're walking. If there is no sidewalk, walk facing traffic. That is actually a New York State law. See and be seen, wear brightly colored clothing, carry a flashlight when walking at night, and try to make eye contact with drivers whenever possible. It really ensures that they see you and you see them. Cross streets at corners or in crosswalks, that is also a law. Don't text or talk on your cell phone while walking. Just like with driving, it can be very distracting. And for more information, you can visit walksafeli.org for more pedestrian safety laws and tips. So now we will open up the floor for questions. Feel free to unmute yourself or put your questions in the chat, and we will make sure that those questions get answered. Dr. Kumar.
Hi, thank you for this talk. Thank you, Dr. Basile and Brooke, for having this event and for the discussion points on this. I thought it was a very good presentation. I had a question about walking the dog. Do you know, or is there a way to tell how much is too much? Like, how do you know that your dog is, worn out?
Well, it's interesting. They actually need a lot of activity, and so the you almost can't wear them out from walking. Okay. Sometimes if you're asking them to run with you, or to ride, to run alongside while you're biking, that might be a little bit extreme. But part of the reason that we see dogs sleeping so well and sleeping like all the time is because during their waking hours, they are good to go. They're ready to, and they will tell you. Parker, the brown one of my two dogs, actually, as we're walking, if he is tired, or even if he doesn't want to go the way that I want to go, he sits down. He just stops walking, So I think as you develop your relationship with your pet, they do give you signs of what they think is safe, what they think is, where they want to go, what's going to make them happy, and the attentive pet owner will take those cues and become part of the team. So,
May I make another comment?
sure.
So I love the fact that you brought up the idea of this being a very social activity as well. Considering now how everybody is indoors and we're just starting to go out more, the mental health of the individuals are very important. I really appreciate that you brought that up, saying that, not only are you taking care of yourself, but you're also helping those around you, right? Your neighbors and so forth. It's great to have that socialization again. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a really important point. And so you'll see that in many towns and local, ordinances are being much, much more permissive of dogs, being, as long as they're, on a leash and being kept safely close to their owners. There's a lot more encouragement for people to get out and around with their dogs, with their pets. So thank you for mentioning that.
Thanks.
I did receive a question prior to the presentation. Someone wanted to know, are the benefits of using an under-desk elliptical or cycling machine, is that comparable to actually getting out and walking for someone who might be homebound?
There are definitely benefits to that under-desk cycling machine. One of the because even the movement of your joints will give stimulation for the production of cortisol, of the different hormones that are released during walking. The one thing that it doesn't help as much with is in bone growth and remodeling. So the actual walking and the actual impact of your feet on the ground is actually a signal to the bones to kind of remodel and rejuvenate the calcium deposits in the way that it's laid out there. So that's, again, the difference between exercising kind of passively and actually exercising outside. Yeah. And
Interesting.
Yeah, so, but great question. Really excellent question. Any other questions? You can raise your hand in Zoom and then we can ask you to unmute, all of those types of things.
If you'd rather not talk, you can always put your question in the chat as well.
Sure.
Well, while you are thinking of your questions, we do have some final parting questions for our audience here. So these are our post-event polls. I'm going to launch them now. 5 questions instead of 6, but they just mirror our pre-event poll questions to gauge what you may have learned during today's presentation. So we would appreciate your feedback, but once again, your participation is voluntary. And in the meantime, if you do think of any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and we will get that answered for you. And just as a reminder, we do have some more Talk with a Doc sessions coming up. Every other Wednesday until July, we will be hosting another program. If you did register for this program, which all of you did, you will receive another reminder about those programs. And we are closing the series with 2 culminating community walks in August, where we will be, being led by a doc. It's a talk and walk with a doc event. So we will be hosting those in August and you'll receive information about those as well. And I see a lot of poll responses. Thank you all for your feedback. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it looks like Dr. Kumar has.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Sorry, quick question. With the walk with the doc, is that open to bring your pets as well?
You know what? That's a great question. We are holding them at Jones Beach and Belmont Lake State Park. So I will have to find out about whether dogs are allowed. That's a great question, though, given today's topic. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, we are coming up. It's 11:30. So once again, thank you all for participating in today's program. And thank you, Dr. Basile. And thank you, AARP, for sponsoring this series.
Thank you, Brooke. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.